When was the last time you looked at yourself in the mirror and asked, am I truly living the life I want? Not the life that others expect from me, not the one that seems right in the eyes of society, but the one that genuinely resonates with my soul. Carl Jung, one of the most profound thinkers in modern psychology, left us with a lesson that few dare to follow: the importance of choosing yourself, even when everything around you seems to push you in the opposite direction. We live in a world meticulously designed to distract you, to keep you trapped in routines, expectations, and an endless stream of obligations that seem unavoidable. From the moment you wake up, you are bombarded with external demands: work, family, responsibilities, social norms, all dictating how you should behave, what you should strive for, and even what success should look like. But here's a truth that many refuse to acknowledge. Every time you prioritize others over yourself, you are sending a silent message to your inner self that it does not matter, that its needs, desires, and truths are secondary. You are ignoring that quiet voice from deep within your subconscious, the one that persistently tries to guide you toward a more authentic and fulfilling life. Jung believed that our connection with the unconscious is not something optional. It is an essential part of who we are. Yet so many people silence it, push it aside, and choose to ignore its signals because facing it can be uncomfortable. That feeling of unease you experience when something in your life doesn't feel right, that is not random. That is your soul speaking to you, trying to show you that something needs to change, even if the mere thought of change terrifies you. Now take a moment and reflect. How many of the decisions you've made recently came from a place of true authenticity? And how many were driven by fear? Fear of disappointing others, fear of stepping outside the norm, fear of discomfort, or fear of breaking away from what is familiar? Jung urges us to deeply contemplate this because he understood a universal truth. Decisions that are not rooted in your inner truth create nothing but chaos and disconnection. The further you stray from yourself, the more lost you will feel. But let's clarify something important. Choosing yourself does not mean rejecting others. This is not about living in selfishness or disregarding the people around you. It is about recognizing that in order to give the best version of yourself to the world, you must first be at peace with yourself. This is the fundamental principle of self-love, a concept Jung explored in depth. Self-love is not a luxury. It is not an excuse to escape responsibilities. It is the foundation upon which all meaningful and authentic relationships are built. When you choose to prioritize yourself, something profound shifts in your energy. You begin to attract people and situations that are aligned with your true essence. It's as if the universe responds to your decision to live in truth, eliminating what no longer serves you and bringing forth what you truly need to grow. But to reach this state, you must first confront your shadows, the parts of yourself that you have ignored, suppressed, or feared. Jung described the shadow as the hidden aspect of our psyche, the one that contains everything we would rather not acknowledge about ourselves. And while facing your shadow can be uncomfortable, it is within this confrontation that true transformation begins. Because when you integrate your shadows, when you stop fighting against them and learn to accept them, you unlock an inner power you never imagined you had. This process of integration does not happen overnight. It requires courage, patience, and an unwavering commitment to understanding yourself. But what you gain in return is invaluable. clarity, the ability to see beyond the illusions you once believed in. Purpose, a renewed sense of direction and meaning in your life. Inner peace, a calm so profound that no external chaos can shake it. You gain the ability to say no to what does not align with you, without guilt, without fear, and without worrying about the judgment of others. But most importantly, you gain the freedom to be who you truly are. You might be wondering, how do I begin this journey? The answer is far simpler than you think. Start by listening to yourself. Every time you feel discomfort, uncertainty, or a surge of emotion, pause and ask yourself, what is my unconscious trying to tell me? Because, as Jung once said, the answers you seek externally are already within you. You just need the courage to listen and the determination to act accordingly. One of the hardest things we do in life is listen to our intuition, especially when it leads us down a path that challenges everything we've built. Maybe it's a relationship you know is no longer working. Maybe it's a job that drains you but feels impossible to leave. Maybe it's a dream you've been chasing simply because it seemed like the right thing to do. Jung reminds us that ignoring these signals is not a sign of strength. It is a denial of our true essence. To choose yourself is to have the courage to let go of what no longer resonates with you. And that is not always easy. We cling to the familiar because change is terrifying. We convince ourselves that better the devil you know than the one you don't. But Jung challenges us to see change not as an ending, but as a doorway, a passage to a more authentic version of ourselves. So think about this. What are you holding on to that no longer serves you? What relationships, beliefs, or habits are you maintaining out of fear? You may feel that letting go of certain people or situations would be a loss, but the real loss happens when you sacrifice your inner peace just to hold on to something that no longer has meaning. The choice is always yours. And perhaps the most important question you can ask yourself right now is, am I ready to truly choose myself? Choosing yourself is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of profound love and deep respect for who you truly are. For too long, society has conditioned us to believe that prioritizing ourselves is wrong, that putting our needs first is somehow a betrayal of the people around us. But the reality is quite the opposite. When you finally make the conscious decision to choose yourself, something truly magical begins to unfold. It's as if a fog that had been clouding your vision starts to lift, and for the first time in a long time, you see things with clarity. The people who genuinely support you remain by your side, while those who only drained your energy, those who never truly valued you, start to fade away. And this is no coincidence. It is the direct reflection of an internal transformation, an alignment between your inner world and your external reality. Carl Jung called this synchronicity, the mysterious yet undeniable connection between your thoughts, emotions, and the circumstances that unfold in your life. When you begin to live in alignment with your truth, your external world shifts to mirror that transformation. It is as if the universe responds to your authenticity by reshaping your environment to match it. However, this process requires something that many people find difficult: radical honesty with yourself. Choosing yourself is not just about making bold decisions or setting firm boundaries. Sometimes it also means acknowledging uncomfortable truths about your past. Perhaps you have made choices that were not a true reflection of who you really are. Maybe you have allowed people to overstep your boundaries, sacrificing your own well-being to please them. You might have said yes to things you knew you should have rejected out of fear of disappointing others. But here's the important part. This is not a reason to judge yourself. Instead, it is an opportunity, an invitation to learn, to recalibrate, and to make a different choice moving forward. Jung believed that authenticity is not a destination. It is a continuous journey. It is a process of learning, evolving, and growing into the truest version of yourself. And on this path, you will face resistance. There will be moments when you doubt yourself, when old habits call you back, tempting you to return to familiar patterns simply because they feel comfortable. But remember this, true growth never happens within your comfort zone. The most profound transformations occur when you dare to step beyond the familiar, into the unknown. The world will not always understand your decision to choose yourself. There will be people who criticize you, who question your choices, who even distance themselves from you because you no longer fit their expectations. And yes, this can be painful, because when you choose yourself, you stop seeking external validation. You begin to realize that your worth is not defined by what others think of you, but rather by what you believe about yourself. This does not mean that you must isolate yourself or disconnect from those around you. Quite the contrary. When you choose yourself, your relationships evolve in ways you never imagined. You no longer chase approval. You seek genuine connection. You no longer settle for shallow interactions. You crave relationships that nourish your soul. And in this process, you discover something beautiful. The right people will always be there, not because they need you, but because they value you exactly as you are. As you begin to live from a place of authenticity, the world around you transforms. This is not magic, nor is it some kind of trick. It is the powerful interplay between your inner and outer worlds. Jung often spoke about how our psyche projects our inner state onto the external world. If you live in internal conflict, you will attract external conflict. If you reject yourself, you will encounter rejection in various forms. But if you choose yourself, if you fully accept and embrace who you are, you will begin to see how the people and circumstances around you also start to shift. This transformation does not happen overnight. It is a process, and like any process, it requires patience and commitment. There will be days when you feel like you are taking steps backward, moments when your old tendencies try to resurface. But this is where the real test lies. Your ability to stay firm in your decision to choose yourself, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it feels lonely. The world glorifies sacrifice. But at what cost? Not everyone will support your choice to prioritize yourself. We live in a world that glorifies sacrifice. Where giving everything to others, even at the expense of our own well-being, is seen as noble. But what happens when we pour from an empty cup? What happens when we give so much that we lose ourselves in the process? Choosing yourself is not selfish. It is necessary. Because only when you are whole, when you are aligned with your truth, can you truly give to others from a place of abundance rather than depletion. So dare to choose yourself. Not just once, but every day. Not just in the big moments, but in the smallest of decisions. And watch as your life begins to transform in ways you never imagined. But Carl Jung taught us something profoundly important. We cannot give what we do not possess. If you sacrifice your happiness, your energy, or your inner peace in an attempt to please others, then what you are offering is not authentic. And sooner or later, that imbalance will manifest itself in your life, whether through emotional exhaustion, dissatisfaction, or even a sense of emptiness. Take a moment to reflect on your current relationships. How many of them inspire you, uplift you, and bring you peace? And how many leave you feeling drained, confused, or emotionally depleted? Jung invites us to ponder this because our relationships are not merely social connections. They are mirrors that reflect our internal state. The people we choose to keep close are reflections of the beliefs, values, and emotional patterns that reside within us. If you find yourself allowing someone to repeatedly cross your boundaries, it is not necessarily because they are bad, but rather because a part of you has not yet learned how to protect itself. Setting boundaries is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of self-love. Jung believed that the unconscious mind is constantly working to guide us toward our well-being, but more often than not, we ignore its signals. That sense of exhaustion you feel after interacting with certain individuals is not a coincidence. It is your unconscious telling you that the relationship is not in alignment with your true essence. And if you continue to ignore these signals, the price you will always pay is your inner peace. Choosing yourself means setting boundaries, not as walls that shut people out, but as bridges that lead to healthier and more authentic relationships. When you say no to what does not serve you, you are simultaneously saying yes to your truth, your dreams, and your well-being. This does not mean that you should sever ties with everyone, but rather that you must be honest with yourself about which relationships nourish you and which ones drain you. As you begin to live from this place of authenticity, something extraordinary happens. Your intuition strengthens. That inner voice, which once seemed faint or uncertain, starts guiding you with greater clarity. You begin making choices that not only make logical sense, but also feel right deep within your soul. This is the power of choosing yourself. It reconnects you with your intuition, with that inner compass that has always been there, waiting for you to trust it. Jung described intuition as one of the purest forms of connection with the unconscious. It is that inexplicable knowing, that feeling in your gut when something either feels right or does not. But to truly hear it, you must silence the noise of the outside world. This means letting go of the need for approval, detaching from societal expectations, and learning to trust yourself. Because at the end of the day, no one else can truly know what is best for you. When you decide to choose yourself, you are sending a powerful message to the universe. I am ready to live in alignment with my truth. And the universe responds. Suddenly, you begin to attract people, opportunities, and experiences that resonate with who you truly are. This does not mean that life will be free of challenges, but those challenges will no longer feel like an endless struggle. Instead, they will become stepping stones, opportunities for growth, transformation, and self-discovery. By choosing to live in authenticity, you also begin to experience something Jung described as synchronicity. These seemingly random, yet perfectly timed events that unfold in your life are not mere coincidences. They are a direct reflection of your inner alignment. When you are in harmony with yourself, the external world starts aligning with you as well. Doors open effortlessly, the right people come into your life at the right moment, and everything begins to flow in ways that once seemed impossible. This is the beauty of embracing your true self. When you honor your inner world, the external world responds in kind. And in that space of deep alignment, you will find not only a greater sense of fulfillment, but also a profound sense of peace, the kind that comes from knowing you are exactly where you are meant to be. When you choose yourself and decide to honor your truth, the universe seems to conspire in your favor. The right opportunities arrive effortlessly, the right people appear at the perfect moment, and everything begins to flow in a way that once seemed impossible. It is as if the entire fabric of existence shifts to align with your newfound sense of purpose. Suddenly, what once felt out of reach is now within your grasp. But this does not mean that the path will be free of obstacles. In fact, some of the greatest challenges arise precisely when you decide to choose yourself. It is as if the world, so accustomed to the version of you that aimed to please everyone else, suddenly resists your transformation and tries to test your commitment. You might feel the weight of external expectations pushing against you, trying to pull you back into old patterns. The doubts will come, the fears will surface, and the temptation to return to what is familiar will be strong. This is where your true power lies. Every time you reaffirm your decision, every time you prioritize your inner peace over external demands, you are strengthening the connection with your true self. The key is to remain steadfast, even when uncertainty creeps in. It is completely natural to feel fear when leaving behind the known, even if you are aware that it no longer serves you. But remember this: every time you choose to stay in a place that no longer brings you joy, you are closing the door to something that could profoundly transform you. The great psychologist Carl Jung taught us that change does not occur without resistance, but that resistance is not a sign that you are making a mistake. Rather, it is proof that you are moving forward. It is the friction between the old and the new, the tension between who you were and who you are becoming. One of the most powerful ways to overcome this resistance is through deep self-reflection. Ask yourself, what do I truly value? What is most important to me? What kind of life do I want to build? When you gain clarity about your values and goals, it becomes significantly easier to make decisions that align with them. And as you do, you begin to attract people and circumstances that resonate with the same energy. The world around you shifts in response to your inner alignment. It is also crucial to remember that you are not alone on this journey. While choosing yourself may feel like a solitary act at first, in reality, you are forging a path that will naturally draw the right people toward you, those who will support, celebrate, and walk alongside you. These individuals will not require you to change in order to fit into their lives. They will embrace you exactly as you are, because they too have chosen to live in alignment with their truth. When you reach this point, something inside you changes forever. Life no longer feels like an endless struggle. The decisions that once seemed overwhelming now come with clarity and confidence. And most importantly, you discover a sense of peace that is no longer dependent on external circumstances. Because, as Jung taught us, true peace can only come from within. That inner peace is the natural result of honoring your needs, respecting your boundaries, and living in full alignment with your values. But it is more than just a personal gift. It is something you can share with the world. When you live authentically, you inspire others to do the same. Your courage becomes a beacon of light for those who are still searching for their own path. And in this process, you do not merely transform your own life, you create a ripple effect that profoundly impacts those around you. Take a moment to imagine what your life could be like if you let go of everything that no longer serves you. How would you feel if you release the relationships that drain your energy, the commitments that do not resonate with your soul, and the expectations that you never truly wanted to fulfill? Picture the freedom, the lightness, and the clarity you could experience. This is not an unattainable dream. It is a real possibility, fully within your reach. All it requires is the willingness to choose yourself. When you make this choice, you begin to see that you are not losing anything by letting go of what no longer aligns with you. On the contrary, you are making space for what truly matters. You are crafting a life that not only makes sense, but also fills you with purpose and joy. And that, in itself, is a transformation worth embracing. This is the gift that Carl Jung wanted all of us to discover, the profound realization that true transformation begins the moment we stop searching outside of ourselves for something that has always been within. It is the moment we choose to live from a place of authenticity, embracing who we truly are, rather than who we were conditioned to be. And when this happens, something extraordinary unfolds. You begin to feel truly alive. No longer are you trapped by the expectations of others, nor do you feel bound by the rigid demands of a society that constantly tells you who you should be, how you should behave, and what defines success. Instead, you start tuning in to that inner voice, the one that has always been there, whispering to you, urging you to look deeper, to recognize that something greater awaits if only you have the courage to pursue it. This feeling of liberation is priceless. It is as if a heavy weight has been lifted from your shoulders, allowing you to breathe fully, deeply, freely, perhaps for the first time in a very long while. However, attaining this freedom requires great courage. It demands that you confront not only the external pressures that have shaped your life, but also the internal fears, doubts, and limiting beliefs that have held you back. Jung reminded us that our greatest enemy is not something outside of us, it is within. It is that persistent inner voice that whispers, "What if I'm not good enough? What if I fail? What if I disappoint others?" But here lies the truth, the secret that so many never realize. That voice is not your truth. It is merely an echo of past experiences, a reflection of conditioning that you have absorbed over the course of your life. Every time you choose to confront it, every time you act in spite of the fear, you are dismantling those limiting beliefs piece by piece, clearing space for something new to emerge. This is the true power of choosing yourself. When you make this choice, you break free from the invisible chains that have kept you bound. As you walk further down this path, something remarkable begins to happen. The things that once seemed so important, the endless chase for validation, the need to prove your worth, the compulsion to please others, begin to lose their grip on you. You no longer feel the urge to compete, to compare, or to conform. Instead, you discover a profound sense of fulfillment in simply being yourself. And it is in this state of authenticity that you uncover your true power. This power has nothing to do with control over others, nor is it about dominance or force. It is a power that comes from deep connection with your inner being, that part of you that has always known who you are and what you need. It is a silent, unwavering force, yet it is unstoppable. Because when you are aligned with yourself, when you stand in your truth, nothing and no one can take you off your path. The beauty of this process is that it does not only transform your life, it transforms the lives of those around you. When you choose yourself, you become a living example of what it means to be authentic. You inspire others, not by preaching, not by convincing, but simply by being. Your presence alone encourages others to question their own beliefs, to challenge their own fears, and to step into their own truth. This is something Carl Jung understood deeply. He knew that individual transformation has a ripple effect, that every time a person chooses authenticity, they contribute to a collective shift in consciousness. Because when we live from our true selves, our relationships change, our communities change, even the world itself begins to change. But do not be mistaken. This journey is not linear. There will be days when you feel strong, empowered, and completely in tune with yourself. And then there will be days when doubt creeps in, when uncertainty clouds your vision, when you question everything. These moments of doubt are not signs of failure. They are an integral part of the process. Jung saw them as opportunities to deepen your connection with yourself, to reflect, to learn, and to grow. Each challenge, each setback is an invitation to shed the old, to step into something greater, to move closer to your true essence. And in those moments, when the path feels uncertain, it is essential to remember this. You are not alone. Although the journey toward authenticity may seem solitary at first, you will inevitably find people, experiences, and resources that support you along the way. The more you embrace who you truly are, the more aligned you become with those who resonate with your energy. And when that happens, the journey no longer feels like a struggle. It becomes a homecoming, perhaps a book, a conversation, or even a video like this one that reaches you at the exact moment you need it most. These are not mere coincidences. They are signs, signals from the universe that confirm you are on the right path. Every moment, every decision, every challenge you have overcome has led you here, to this very instant. And though the future may seem uncertain, there is one undeniable truth. As long as you continue to choose yourself, you will be building a life that is truly worth living. The greatest gift you can give yourself is to be unapologetically you, not the version of yourself that others expect, nor the one you have created just to fit in, but your purest essence, the real you that exists when no one else is watching. Carl Jung once revealed that the true work of life does not lie in searching outside of ourselves, but in unraveling the deep mysteries that reside within. And when you finally make the conscious choice to embrace yourself, you come to a profound realization. Everything you are searching for has always been within you. This is a call to action. Life is far too short to remain trapped in the need for external validation, to ignore your own desires, to silence your dreams in order to meet the expectations of others. The time to take the first step is now. The time to confront your fears, to acknowledge your shadows, and to listen to the quiet whispers of your intuition is today. The moment to reconnect with your true self is right in front of you. Because when you choose yourself, you do more than transform your own life. You also change the world around you. Your energy shifts, your perspective expands, and your very presence begins to inspire those who cross your path. And now, What comes next? This is the moment to reflect on everything you have just heard. Ask yourself, which aspects of my life are truly aligned with my authentic self? What can I let go of in order to live with greater authenticity? What is holding me back from embracing the person I was always meant to be? Remember, every small step matters. Every single choice you make in favor of your true self is a victory. And most importantly, you are not alone on this journey. This space, this community, this channel exists to remind you of your infinite potential and to guide you along your path of self-discovery. If this message has resonated with you, don't let it stop here. Extend its impact beyond yourself. Share this video with someone who might need it. Someone who is searching for answers. Someone who is facing their own challenges. Someone who might need this exact moment of clarity. Every interaction matters. Every comment, every like, every share helps this message reach more people. People who, just like you, are searching for a deeper connection with their true selves. Imagine the impact we can create together. A community of individuals committed to living from a place of authenticity, courage, and self-acceptance. Now, I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments, what part of this message spoke to your heart? What steps are you willing to take today to choose yourself, to honor your true essence? Every word you share matters, not just to me, but to everyone who is on this same journey, seeking their own truth, their own clarity. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell so you never miss another message like this. Together, we can bring this reflection to every corner, to every person who needs to be reminded that the greatest power of all lies in the simple yet profound act of choosing to be who you truly are. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. But above all, thank you for being part of this movement, this awakening, this shared journey towards self-discovery. Never forget, you are not alone. Change begins with you. And the world desperately needs more people with the courage to embrace their authentic selves. I'll see you in the next video. And always remember, life truly begins the moment you decide to choose yourself.